What's up, guys? This is TRYBE from STRIQfit here. I asked you guys to send me a few questions to my Instagram, and I'm reading some of them now, and I'm going to answer them here. So let's get into the first question. What calisthenics equipment would you recommend buying on a low budget? Which is a great question, actually. So actually, one of the first things I bought when I started calisthenics were these parallettes. These parallettes right here give you the opportunity to keep your wrist in a fixed position so your body doesn't have to worry so much about your wrist joints. It can focus on the body position that you're performing. So if you like to do things like L-sits, planches, handstands, even push-ups, these things are great for that, alleviating a lot of the stress off of your joints, like I said. Another thing, the elevation of these parallettes are great for failure protection when you're doing your planches, L-sits, and things of that nature. These are pretty cheap. I got them for about $50 to $60, I want to say. They come in all types of sizes and lengths, so you should definitely check it out. Parallettes. Second thing I bought when I got into calisthenics was a resistance band. This one specifically is about 60 to 80 pounds of resistance. The way I use this is more so alleviating my hips and a lot of the weight off of my body when I'm performing in my planche training and things of that nature. You can use it as well for things like reverse Nordic training, like I've shown before in other videos. Resistance bands, they do get a little pricey if you want to get a bunch of variations. Like I said, this one's a 60 and 80 pound resistance band, but they come in all shapes and sizes. So if you want to get a variety of them and, purposely move down and lower the resistance as you gain strength like you should be, it can get a little pricey with that one. Like I said, this one's about $20. So there you go. Third thing was wrist wraps. Very key, very essential. When your wrist joints get tired, this can keep a lot of that your wrist joint in place. Very essential if you're doing a lot of handstand and wrist training, which we do in calisthenics. So I definitely recommend having some wrist wraps handy just in case. These ones, cheap, $10, $15. The last two things that I got in calisthenics, which I think are amazing, I'm going to plug a video right here. But chalk right here, gotta have the chalk, and you gotta have the gymnastic rings. Gymnastic rings are essential, especially if you want to take your training to the next level. So the thing about gymnastic rings is that they stimulate a lot of the deeper muscle fibers in your body, and you're fighting through a constant stabilization workout when you're doing push-ups and pull-ups on them. That's the great thing about gymnastic rings, the instability. The instability gives you a constant core workout, and on top of that, if you find yourself getting a lot of elbow pain when you're doing pull-ups or chin-ups from a fixed bar position, two things that I will say: you should try neutral grip pull-ups, which is where your hands are facing each other, or they call them hammer pull-ups as well. The second thing, these rings, the instability gives your body the choice of choosing a natural pulling pattern. So if you use rings ever, like the first time, and you're doing a pull-up, you might notice that your hands naturally turn inward at the top of the rep. That's your body choosing a natural pulling pattern that's going to alleviate a lot of that elbow pain that you're getting from a fixed bar position. Can you go from fat to ripped from body weight training alone? Yes and no. So first off, we need to say what is ripped to you. But if you're saying that, can you get a six-pack and have, very muscular physique? For sure, yes. All the advanced calisthenic athletes that you see, and even intermediate calisthenic athletes that you see, they have ripped bodies. And the reason for that is because calisthenics is naturally going to be a compound exercise always. In weight training, you have the ability to isolate, whether you want to isolate the biceps, triceps, quads, things of that nature. But when you do calisthenic exercises, you can't do that. You have to use multiple muscle groups at once, So when you're doing it with the reverse Nordics or you're doing a handstand, push-ups, you're activating a lot of these muscles and they're coming into play a lot throughout the time. So you're strengthening your core and you're strengthening that muscle group as well. One thing I will say, the reason I'll say you can't get ripped from bodyweight training alone is because, and I tell this to a lot of my clients, working out is very important, all right? But it's at least 30% of the journey. You need to be eating clean foods that give you energy and nourishment. Remember, you are what you eat and you are what you digest. So if your diet is shit, you're never going to see improvements in your strength levels or improvements in your body. You're never going to get to that goal that you want. If you want to lose weight, you need to eat in a caloric deficit, which means you need to eat less calories than your body is burning throughout your workout and throughout your day, so you can steadily lose weight over time. There's not going to be a six-pack workout or anything that just makes you get abs in 30 days unless you implement a greater diet that supports your needs into your system. What are your thoughts on putting on muscle with calisthenics for a skinny guy? Well, I consider myself a skinny guy. I've been skinny, most of my life. I just started putting on a great deal of muscle, over the last couple of years, thanks to changing my training routine and really knowing what to do and what my body needs. It's definitely possible. It's not something that is extremely going to be difficult. I'd say that calisthenics, the most important thing is dedication past the 3 to 6 month mark. A lot of people give up past the 3 to 6 month mark because they aren't seeing the changes, whether it's in their results of their body or results of their strength training. You have to really stick through it and get dedicated, falling over again and again and again and getting up and really tackling it, just deciding in your mind this is what you're going to do, and the results will come. You never want to worry about the end goal. You just want to enjoy the journey as you're going through it. Putting on muscle with calisthenics for a skinny guy, I've done it, again before. It's really about your diet. Are you going to be eating in a calorie surplus, eating more calories than you're burning throughout the day, so you can steadily put on size, and gain muscle in that fashion? How do I mix weightlifting with calisthenics? So you're talking about hybrid training. So for what I will say is that a smaller muscle is not necessarily a weaker muscle than someone that has a larger muscle. But a larger muscle has the opportunity to become a stronger muscle if it's trained properly. So that's why you see a lot of the calisthenic athletes, they'll lift weights. They'll put on, they'll strap extra weight to themselves because they're trying to break through a barrier. For instance, I wanted to grow my legs. Okay, so I added squats, barbell squats, Bulgarian split squats with weights added, all that good stuff because I want to put on mass with my legs. But I also want to keep my calisthenic skills. So I still train, 4 days out the week, straight calisthenics. But the other 2, I do my legs, I do my weightlifting on my leg days. And I also mix that with calisthenic skills as well, a lot of hip mobility exercises. What I will say, if you're a beginner and you want to mix both of them, it can be something as simple as adding sets of push-ups or pull-ups before you actually get into your weight training. If you're going to go about it this way, I'd say add 3 to 4 sets of push-ups and add 2 sets of explosive push-ups before you get into your actual push day. Pull day, same kind of thing. I'd say do 2 or 3 sets of pull-ups and then get some explosive pull-ups if possible before getting into your weight training. You also want to work on isometrics before you actually go into the weights as well. So if you're wanting to work on planche, elbow lever, things of that nature, I'd say do that before you actually get into your weight training, where your body's going to be more fatigued at the end of your workout set. Imbalances. So if you have muscle imbalances, you want to do unilateral exercises. There's a few unilateral exercises that I really love. I don't know where your imbalances are, but if you have imbalances in your arms, for instance, you can do something like archer push-ups, and that really strengthens each arm. And you can take time and attention to which arm is bothering you and not giving you the results that you want. I would also say you can do archer squats, things like pistol squats as well, one arm rows, things of that nature. Unilateral exercises where you have to stabilize with one other limb and you pull with the other limb. Is bulking in calisthenics the same as bulking in weightlifting? Yes. Calisthenics and weightlifting, they're just different training styles, guys. If you want to bulk, you just have to be in a calorie surplus till you reach your desired goal. And basically a calorie surplus, like I said before, just means you're eating more calories than you're burning throughout the day and burning in your workout. Can I be big and also do calisthenics? I've made a video about this before. If you're overweight, or if you're not even overweight, if you're just a bigger individual and you want to get started in calisthenics, it's perfectly fine. What I will say is that you have to be wary of the weight and the load that you're putting on your joints, specifically your wrist, elbow, shoulder joints, things of that nature when you're doing push-ups and pull-ups. So if you have no training experience, period, what I will say is that you need to add elevation to your movements. So instead of doing regular push-ups, do incline push-ups. Instead of doing regular pull-ups, do assisted pull-ups with a resistance band or a machine. Things that can alleviate the stress off of your joints until you build enough strength to support yourself in those positions. Because it's very joint heavy. So if you don't start slow, you're going to end up injuring yourself. And that's also not even if you're overweight, that's anybody. Explaining relative strength. So I made this example before when I was comparing absolute and relative strength. The thing is, absolute strength is how much anybody can push, period, irrespective of their body size. And relative strength is how much weight a person can push, respective of their body size. So if we have two men here, and one weighs 100 pounds and the other one weighs 200 pounds, okay? Man one can lift 200 pounds at 100 pounds body weight. Man 2 can lift 205 pounds at 200 pounds body weight, okay? So if you were to ask this question and I were to ask you who is stronger, you'd have to see what kind of strength am I talking about. If we're talking about absolute strength, man 2 is stronger, right? Because he can push 205 pounds regardless if he weighs 200 pounds. He can still push more weight than man 1. If we're talking about relative strength, respective of the person's body weight and size, then yes, man 1 is stronger because he can push full on double his body weight despite being 100 pounds. Yes, he's 5 pounds shy, but he's still relatively stronger. Okay, so relative strength is how strong you are respective of your body size. And I'm not gonna lie to you, the greatest improvements in your relative strength when you're first starting out is going to come from weightlifting. If you have access to weights, and you want to get a pull-up, you should start with rows, single arm rows with a dumbbell or things of that nature. Further on down the line, as you want to get into greater elements of relative strength, calisthenics can help with that, and weighted calisthenics can help with that. But if you're just starting out, relative strength is going to be best achieved throughout doing some weightlifting. What do my tattoos represent? Okay, we can get into this one. So I always forget. I got about 8 or 9 tattoos. I can't really, remember all the time. But anyway, we have this one right here. This is a Ankh, or an Egyptian cross. Essentially, it's a symbol of divine wealth, power. You can read up more about that if you're into spiritual teachings and things of that nature. Eden right here, Garden of Eden, a reminder to live positive and not perfect as well. We got Negus, which basically means emperor, ruler of Ethiopia. I've also heard that it's the original N-word, and it was derived from this word as well. I'm not going to get too much into that. You can research that for yourself if you want to. We got godlike here. I believe that everybody is, children of God, and I think we should strive to be like God. We got 1122, my angel numbers, which basically means, I can't grow if I'm not outside my comfort zone. So it's a reminder to me that, hey, got to get out your comfort zone if you want to evolve, if you want to get better at life. We got the goat right here because I'm a Capricorn as well. And I also have another Capricorn symbol as well. Boom. All right. Got another tattoo actually right here. My mom's name. Rest in peace to her soul. First thing inside this trishul is an Om, which is the first sound of the universe. So yeah, the trishul itself is a symbol of power. It's also an acknowledgement that I have complete control over my own life and my own decisions, and it's a protection from evil. So that's about all my tattoos right there, man. Want to get some more, so, you know, stay tuned for that. Last question right here. How can I start calisthenics? At least 6 or 7 of you guys asked this. All right, so here we go. If you want to start calisthenics, there's a few things you need. 1, you need a workout plan. Okay, so if you want to get a workout plan from me, I have one in my link in bio. I also have one on my page. There's a full calisthenics full week workout that you can do as well. You need to stay consistent with that calisthenic workout routine for at least 3 to 6 months to see some proper results in the training that you've been doing with that as well. Another thing you want to do, you want to establish what skills do I want to learn. Your training plan is going to alter slightly depending on what skills you want to learn. So if you want to learn a planche, you know, handstand or levers, you need to look into that, and based off that, your training plan is going to adjust. What I will say, you need to pick one pushing skill, one pulling skill, and then proceed forward to mastering other skills. If you try to learn things like human flag, you know, handstand push-up, full planche, front lever, back lever, all these things at once, you're just going to get overwhelmed, you're going to burn out, and ultimately you're going to be mediocre at every skill. So like I said before, establish one pushing skill, one pulling skill, then move on from there. Besides that, like I said, I already have the routines for you. You know, once you get started, it's really a process of being dedicated and consistent with it, despite, you know, what people may say about you. You know, when you're doing handstand training and handstand push-up training, planche training, people are going to look at you, 1, because they're interested, 2, because they're not sure what you're doing, and 3, you might look a little goofy, especially when you're starting out and you're messing up all the time. But hey, it doesn't matter. Do what you got to do, because over time, they're going to admire the strength that you have and the things that you can do with your own body. And, you know, they might come to you for coaching or things of that nature. I appreciate you guys for staying here with me. I enjoyed this video and I enjoyed your questions. Let me know if I can help in any other ways. Comment below what are the questions I might have missed. Thank you. Have a good day. Strict form only.